It's been a very, very famous race down there for us for a long time. We've had Sir Jack Brabham race down there, obviously. Back in the day we had, even Jimmy Clark and Jackie Stewart and Graham Hill in the 60s and 70s, so that was phenomenal. And there was huge crowds. It's actually a really nice atmosphere in the paddock in Melbourne. It's the first race of the year. We've got new colour schemes, we've got the drivers ready to go, and I'm proud to be Australian when it's unfolding like that.
And how much pride do you take from the fact that Daniel Ricciardo has now followed in your footsteps?
Yeah, it was great. For us to come through and get into Formula One as Australians, we know the strike rate is incredibly low. I think there was a 21 or 22 year gap between Alan Jones winning a race and myself winning a race, and to get points and podiums was really, really hard, and even to arrive in Formula One and keep a long-term contract was difficult for Australians. So to have such a quick turnover, to have Daniel in my slipstream, if you like, now competing, and we're in good hands. Obviously he's incredibly quick, he's got now a lot of experience, so he's now one of the most experienced guys at the front, pushing for victories, pushing for championships. He's definitely got championships in him in the future. Gets the right scenario on his doorstep, and he'll capture that, I'm sure. So
he needs some wins, though.
Yeah. I think that he needs the right car to get the job done, obviously, which we know that. And then he's got to get himself in that scenario again, which he had a few years ago. And he's more than capable of it. I think he's quicker and faster than I ever was, so he's in good shape there. And I think that he has a good chance to do well and continue to fly the flag from more Aussies coming over.
How do you reflect on that period when you were at Red Bull with the rivalry with Seb, which at times played out in perhaps not the best way in the media?
The rivalry with Sebastian was definitely intense, and learnt a lot about ourselves. I think we had accidents on track together, which a lot of people in their armchairs at home were like, this is sensational to watch. He was just that notch stronger than me when it came to pulling everything together, and I think the first championship was very, very important, which I took right to the last race, and after that it was very hard for me to get going.
How much empathy do you have for Nico Rosberg now in the situation that he's in?
I was impressed with how he pulled it back at the end of last year. I think Lewis definitely backed off a sniff in terms of the 2 or 3% once he got the championship. And Nico's like, well, I've got to finish with some momentum if I can, and he sort of ramped it up. And then before he suddenly just had this swing of sort of 5-6% of performance, and all of a sudden, Nico could do no wrong. So Nico can keep that for the first half a dozen races, in 2016. I'm confident that he can start really, really well. Lewis, if he turns up as Lewis Hamilton, as we know, in terms of hungry and fired up, and he'll be dangerous. He can win, but that's up to Lewis, and he knows that. He's got to deliver.